expected a dumpster fire. I got a political super fun site is what I got yesterday.
Yeah, all right.
That's my clip of the day.
Josh video is all over, everywhere.
Oh, Lord
Is
have
Josh a
mercy.
meme yet?
To take statements on what
Before
we
that
saw.
happened, I told her.
Finnegan
Wow.
called.
Not in the office when it happened?
Meeting was yeah, she was still there.
She was. I was telling her the BOCC meeting was a little exclusive yesterday.
That was probably somebody said that was like Scott Adams' days.
Yes, it was. I even said to her, I'm like, it's very reminiscent.
And Staff said, I think that's the first time it's ever been a
it was,
3-2 on acceptance of the agenda at the very beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, it blew up 5 minutes in.
It's amazing that we can get people.
Now I gotta find the video.
Oh,
I haven't seen it.
I'm gonna,
I've just heard the stories.
yeah.
It was unfortunate.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, that clock is 1 minute early. According to my watch.
So we're almost there.
All right. Call this meeting to order of the Tourist Development Council. Today is May 13th, 2026, and it is 9 a.m. Who would like to do the invocation?
I would.
You're awesome, Max. And then lead us in the pledge after, please.
God in heaven, we're gathered here together to do the business and support the business of tourism in this county. And we want to ask that you help us to be positive and add to that. But the thing that'll add to it most is we hope you're going to bless us with the summer with no hurricanes, where all our businesses that start out will still be there at the end, and everybody that's got a job will be training a new employee because they're expanding in the winter. And we ask this in your holy name. Amen.
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 Boy, can I get behind that. Which flag are we saluting? This one?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
Roll call. Mr. Max Showman.
Here.
Tracy Wood.
Here.
Tom Craig.
Here.
Ray Smitherman.
Here.
Luann Jacobs.
Here.
Nancy Desai.
Here.
Holly Davis.
Here.
Michael Mankey.
Mankey here.
All right. Absent is Chris Insing. All right. We have a quorum.
Thank you. And since I came in right in the nick of time, as usual, it's always the day after BOCC. Good morning, everyone. Glad you're all here. Looking for approval of agenda. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Who wants it? Motion by Max Schulman, second by Tom Craig. Is there any board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Approval of minutes.
I move approval of minutes.
Second.
Motion by Michael Mankey, second by Max Schulman. Any board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Open to the public. Would anyone like to speak at open to the public? No?
Hello, my name is Paul Cross. I work with Paddletail Waterfront Adventures, American Pro Diving in Coast River, and also building the dive shop there at the Marriott property. I just wanted to stop by today just to say thank you to the team for creating our Eco Partners program. I think it's really, really important. Even after yesterday with the apparent no clear leadership or lack of leadership, I think this is a great example of what good leadership can do, right? There's not an agency out there that is doing anything to help the perceived problem of overcrowding on Kings Bay. Yet your team here is creating a program that we can all get behind and raise our standards. right? Nobody's asked them to do that. That's not a requirement. They just see a need, and that's what they're trying to do. And I would encourage you, when there is somebody that is speaking out against that specific need, is to find out why that is, and is that the general consensus, right? Because I believe that overall everybody wants to raise the level of our game on Crystal River, right? I think the move to have everybody having power poles, I think that supports Save Crystal River in a huge way. I think having the SUP permit backs up Fish and Wildlife Service, right? Fish and Wildlife Service acknowledged this problem back in early 2000s and said, hey, we might be a little overcrowded out here. And then since then, there's not been another agency out there that has done anything to adopt that, to mirror that, or to support that. We've just tore it down over the last 25 years, right? So what does that look like? We've tried to address it with the city council, with Chris Insing, and that flew over like a lead balloon, right? So there's nobody out there that is helping other than the program that you guys created. So let's figure out how to get that across countywide and get more support for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cross. That's something that I've been lobbying for since trying to figure out how to use this timer, since I became a commissioner. So you figure it clear. There we go. Got it. Anyone else like to speak?
Hello and good morning. My name is Kimberly Stibbs-Minster. I am the owner of Salty Siren Tours and Charters. Again, just want to piggyback on what Paul said. This group right here has done so much in a short amount of time to bring us all together and be more cohesive. Truly, it's not about tourism. It's about protecting those manatees and educating people so that way generations to come have the privilege to go ahead and interact with these animals that were almost extinct during my lifetime. When I tell people that, they're shocked. In 1969, we had approximately 500 here. It is incredible how far we have come, but yet we want to bring all operators up to speed. Myself, I only have 2 6-person boats. I don't plan on having any larger boats. We have 1 tour guide per 6 people. We try to be very eco-conscious, and we have a very, very heavy education component to that. So again, I feel this is vital. Having that special use permit through Fish and Wildlife is an integral part of that. That's why that was created, to make sure we didn't have the overcrowding on the bay and just anyone with a captain's license and a boat can go out and conduct tours. Tours need to be conducted the right way, and I think that this is the way to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. I grew up here, and I remember seeing very few manatees in the 80s, late 70s and 80s.
Hello, my name is Peter Weber. I own Go Local Manatee Tours. First off, I want to say it's not a coincidence that they're all here mentioning this eco-compliant partner program, because I had a meeting yesterday with Ms. Davis, Alvis, and Terry. This program was created, and it is an amazing thing, and I think it can do wonders. Unfortunately, some of the people that just spoke, and they created the parameters of it. They helped create the parameters of it, and they shut out true local small businesses. So Go Local Manatee Tours is the only tour company in Crystal River that is owned and operated all by people born and raised here. And the special use permit and the brick and mortar is just a gatekeeping tool to keep people out of this program. True local businesses can't get into it. Tracy Wood, Homosassa can't get into it. I can't get into it. Multiple other operators can't get into it because of certain parameters put around it. I think that all of you guys need to look at it and make sure that it's a fair, open program. If you guys really want to create a program to get people onto it, then you guys should make sure that everyone is included into it, because we all want to do the right thing, but we can't when certain people have an agenda and they want to put their agenda onto things. All right? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hello, everyone. My name is Kim Altman. I am the owner of Explorida Adventure Center with my husband. We are also local, so there are more locals out there that own manatee tour companies. But I thought it was important to come up here today and to piggyback off of what Paul and Kim have both said. These guys here, this group, they approached us because we had an issue out on the water. They were finding it very difficult to market what we do to people out here, because a lot of people don't think what we do is right. They don't think that, we should be in the water swimming with manatees. They don't believe in what we do. And they have faith in our industry to understand that a lot of us are here because we care about this area. My husband and I, we are locals first. We are residents first. And that's how we built our business. Every single one of our boats was built with power poles from day one because we wanted to protect the grass beds. We care about the residents. We care about this area. So when we were approached from this amazing group to talk about the parameters of what should be in this eco-compliance partnership, it was only right by those that were in the room to suggest the things that we did. As Paul said, the Fish and Wildlife is the only the group that really has addressed the overcrowding. That's why we suggested the Fish and Wildlife permit, okay? The power poles, the brick and mortar. The brick and mortar is attainable by anyone. Anyone can get a brick and mortar, pay taxes, have a significant investment in the community, just like most of us do here. I would like to say that, the three of us that are in this room today, we have built I would say like a co-op of large businesses and small businesses. As Kim just came up and said, she's a small company. She's only got a couple of boats. It's not a big versus small. It's about a group of people that want to do the right thing, that want to make sure that we can pass this on to generations below us. I have a 4-year-old. He loves manatees. We are one of the bigger companies. We have 5 boats. We actually take school groups, scout groups, educational groups, and we absolutely love it. That is what we thrive on, okay? And we're teaching the next generation what is important about this ecosystem. We piggyback on Save Crystal River. We do all of these things, and this is what's most important. We're doing it the right way. We've never made it unattainable for anyone. I think I just wanted to set the record. Our goal was to elevate the standard in the industry and ensure that this can be sustainable for generations to come.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Can I say something?
Yes.
Peter, why did you say that I, as a captain and owner, that I can't get into the program?
Because you don't have a special use permit.
Okay. There's different rules in Homosassa than there are in Crystal River, and I am actually in the process of getting into the
If that's the case,
program. There's a couple things that I don't have right now. I've been doing this for 27 years. I'm a TDC member. I'm not part of the program yet, but I am going to be. There's a few requirements that I still have to meet that I haven't met yet, so I'm going to meet them. So I don't understand where you're coming from.
It is not in Homosassa. They aren't required to have SUPs in Homosassa by U.S. Fish and Wildlife.
Waterway that Crystal River is
No.
no different in running a manatee tour in the 2 different areas.
There is a difference because it's not run by the National Wildlife Refuge there.
The National
So I will have to meet every other.
They don't run, it's the same body of water, it's government.
I'm gonna need to shut this down because we're really not supposed to have people talk from the audience, so,
So,
yes.
One point, though, is that we should, number one, it's not going to help anybody if we fractionalize. And number two, this is a wonderful program, but there's no such thing as a perfect program. We need to periodically evaluate it and see what changes need to be made or what additional programs could be added that make sure everybody in the industry is behind the program and getting recognition for it so that ultimately our localities and our county are known for the program. So we need to get along.
And I have at least one idea to run by y'all at a later date.
sure, thank you.
Yesterday's conversation.
Okay.
I've been asking for this from the beginning, and it was like Christmas. I came in, and all of a sudden it was done after all these years. So, thank you.
So, first of all, thank you, all of you, for coming out here on a Wednesday at 9 o'clock in the morning out of your busy days as tour operators and business owners, respected business owners of the community, local business owners, to address, our programs and just, to be advocates of, advocates of the system, of the ecosystem of the manatees, of what we're trying to build here as a sustainable tourism destination. I would say this, I've spoken with all of you, like Peter said, we were on the call yesterday, and we'll continue to, as a group, work so we can try to cultivate the eco-compliant program, because it's not meant to eliminate people. It's really meant to, I think someone said, raise the bar, and I would agree with that. But I do think there are some opportunities here where we make sure there is not that grade, those cracks that people fall through, because I don't think this is a case of good versus bad, right? I think this is a case of good and better and best and things of that nature. So I don't want to put any kind of negative connotations to the program at all, because I don't think it needs to be. But I do think that our team will not necessarily go back to the drawing board. We won't do that. But what we can do is we can figure some things out to where the program can continue to grow. I just ask for everyone in the room just to give us some time and bring folks to the table. And we have a couple of ideas that we feel like that can see this program flourish as it's flourishing now. I mean, it's still in its infancy. So just ask for your patience and looking forward to really working with all the partners going forward is pretty much what I have to say.
I'd like to make another comment. Many people don't know, but Tom and I, back in 2015 and 16, did our second book, and that was paddling in and around Citrus County, and we did it with Matt Clemens. If you don't know Matt, he was a big captain, pusher. He'd been a park supervisor in the park system, and they actually put together a program that was going to go all the way to certifying guides and really put an eco-friendly label on our county. They spent several years. They got some of the certification done, and then the fragmentation started, and the whole thing fell apart. I would really like to see us bring in an outside consultant, a professional that can look at where do we want to go with this program, what are the elements that we need, because this is the first element, but it's only the first of many, and invest just a little bit of money on making sure that we can do this successfully.
Oh, fair enough. Thank you.
I think it's a great program, and I think it has a lot of potential. And excuse me, I'm very excited to be part of it eventually, as soon as I can. I think it's a really great start, and I think that everything that's laid out in the program is a really great idea.
And Commissioner Davis, I'm sure we'll get together on the side,
Of course. So, no presentations?
No presentations.
All right. Budget overview. We're closed.
Did you-
Yeah, we closed.
Okay. All right. Watch for a second here. Yeah. Okay. You guys have in front of you the budget. Everything is all good. We're now in phase 2, of course, of our budget for next year. There's really nothing to highlight other than just for information purposes. There's nothing out of the norm here, so everything is pretty much status quo. So that's it.
Okay. Board, do you have any comments, questions, concerns?
No concerns. I just have a question about the casual labor boat ramp, Ford Island Beach cleanup.
Yeah.
30,000. What is that?
We help those workers for maintenance, repair, cleanup, and all that stuff out at the beach area. So we're just part of our duties to the county's Park and Rec program. So there's an addition to those costs for those personnel because they don't have the staff. So we help out with that, and that's just something we have always done annually in the last couple of years.
Help out by people or
For staff, paying for for their staff.
And then just an interest question. AI resources, $1,800. What are the AI resources that we pay for?
We use services like ChatGPT, Claude, Copilot, things of that nature for our just daily workflows. And most of those are membership based because we can't do the free ones because then you're limited to like 1 or 2 questions, and it doesn't work for us.
Yeah, and it's also, as an organization, you have to pay more than an individual.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have, so it's almost like think of it like a seat license,
Yeah.
almost,
No,
for multiple users.
I think it's interesting. I've been
Welcome to the new world.
been an assistant counselor to Adobe for AI since they came out with Firefly. And
Yeah.
I mean, as an artist, I don't see any reason for it, but for people who need to get great professional work, it's absolutely essential.
Well, Christina and Michael now are actually at Tourism Academy with our CMS and CRM, and there's going to be a lot of AI components in that. So they're in Jacksonville actually this morning, so taking care of business there. So hopefully make us all smarter.
There was a really interesting debate that I read this morning on Substack. I love that platform.
Yeah, great platform.
And there was somebody on there that said it's really recognizable with a lot of the writers on Substack where their natural voice has been flattened, and so people jumped in there, and that's the way I use it, because I do use it to write articles, and I am a professional writer, so I'm totally offended by the whole idea that I do that. But I have to say that if I don't have a framework in mind and I'm in a hurry, I can just basically throw up my ideas and it comes back with a cogent story, and then I rewrite it. So it's in my voice, but it is a slippery slope. You have to go back and read every single word and go, this is not how I would say this, and make sure, especially as a professional writer, I want to keep my natural voice alive.
It is also.
And that goes back to brand identity as well, our voice as a brand.
It's a very important point, though, that if you want it bad, you get it bad. If you want it cheap, you get it cheap. There are many sources of AI. I started literally in the 80s working machine logic stuff. We should be very careful. There are different platforms that are tailored to different subjects, and it's a very competitive field. It's another area where it's worth investing in making sure we've got fine-tuned AI that matches and assists where we want to go, or you get dragged to being just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure how you selected the folks, but I'm sure they will come back smarter on that issue, and we might look at it again.
Fingers crossed. I'm sure they will, though.
Really don't want to be a flatly homogeneous society.
If you're using any of the freebies, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Just one more thing. Just throwing it out there, we've got great coverage everywhere in the U.S. and around the world. I just wonder if we should consider having a booth at boat shows, like the big one in Fort Lauderdale, because a lot of our people that come here are trailering boats.
Right.
And staying at places that have boat ramps at the hotels.
Yeah, so we have, if you see in the budget, we slashed our participation in ICAST, which is a fishing show that's primarily for people who have bait shops, who fish, who want to see the latest and greatest new products, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And moving that into, specifically, we talked about boat shows, so.
Oh, good, great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And speaking of a show, I want to say Mr. Mankey was just at a show at the same time, and we'll talk about this later, the zoo event, but they were just at a show, a pretty large show for 3 days out in Tampa. So, anytime I would feel like a hotel or resort, when they're represented there, we are also represented. So that's kind of an extension. So we're kind of like lucky to have that, because that stuff is not free. So appreciate that. You can talk about that experience if you want to, Mike.
I just took all your visitor guides and the bike trail and the regular map, and it was received well, because, of course, the first selling point when you're at any show is, do you know Crystal River?
Yeah.
Right.
Then it's, what are you? Oh, the word that says resort up there might give it away, but let's not worry about not being able to read.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah, but to Tom's point, I think there's a lot of opportunity, and I know you're already traveling and busy, but at the same weekend, we had the boat show in, what's it called? Armature Works Tampa.
Yep.
The largest outdoor expo in Florida in Palm Beach was going on in Palm Beach. And again, with the focus of water sports, water activities, we sell more manatee stuff at the boat show than I do fishing trips.
Yeah.
So I think to your point, it's well well received that we should look at it more and see if we can be more present at more things, especially in Florida for the trailering
course.
process. And
Agree. And before I get into the travel, I'm gonna put the travel initiatives in the overall update. But I
Are you moving to E2?
yes. I'm sorry.
Don't we need to take a vote on
Yeah,
E1?
sorry.
2 questions on this one.
Yes.
One, because I'm lazy, how does this compare to last year's either proposed budget, and even better yet, how does it propose to the actuated budget that we executed in the process?
Compare in regards
You
to
budgeted 2.8 million this year, what did we budget last year, and then what of the 2 point whatever million we budgeted last year did we actually actuate?
actually.
I think he did.
Yep. Coin that word. What did we actually do?
Yeah. Last year.
And we can do it at another time at some point.
Yeah. Okay.
That's good information for, all of us to have, really.
Okay. All right.
And
That's,
secondly,
Your question?
We normally, like on the medical examiner board, we have the prior fiscal year next to it, so. With
sorry, just,
the true up or true down of what was planned, and then next to it, and that way at least it's easier to compare.
okay.
it's my math background, sorry. And then secondly, with the media plan, I'm assuming we haven't seen this one yet, the 958 million.
So you will see it in several weeks in an email before the July meeting.
Okay.
Because last year, I know you guys wanted to see it first prior to the actual meeting so you can digest it a little bit more. So,
Well, getting to the point you're going to call for next, which is approval of this budget. It's hard to approve a budget when you don't know what we're spending the money on.
well, welcome.
Approve the bucket.
Welcome to the world of government, and unfortunately, yeah. So you're
Welcome to the world of private practice.
yeah. So
But I would, I'm willing to vote support this now, but I think it'd be nice at the next meeting to bring forward what last year was, just so
Sure.
we have that, because, we could always rescind it if we
okay,
wanted to, right?
awesome.
I'm sure it's perfectly in line. I just want to make sure.
That was a joke. Pardon?
I'm sure it's perfectly in line. I just want to.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm comfortable with it, so
I
it all looks
personally
normal.
I think it matters a lot this year compared to last year, but I'd like to see what's aligned to our strat plan. We worked on it, and I've done hundreds of strat plans in the last 40 years, and about 80% of them end up never being actionable. Actuated.
The new word, coin it, phrase it. We can
So
change it.
Wonder twins activate.
I do enjoy this board. Y'all's personalities are awesome. And that was not actually sarcasm font. Okay, so any other questions or looking for a motion?
So we're just moving to approve going forward with the budget, not approving the budget.
The motion is,
No, we're approving, recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve the budget for fiscal year 26-27. We have a very set budget, what we
Yeah.
accept, what we,
I'll be happy to move that.
Yeah.
okay.
Second.
All right, motion by Michael Mankey, second by Tom Craig. Any further board discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And who is my vice chair, by the way?
Tom?
Tom's your vice chair.
Excellent, because I have to bolt to the airport. Okay. Is there, I can stay a few more minutes if this
Okay.
is something that I need to hear.
No, I think we're good. There's no other. Outside everything is just in the report information, so you're fine.
So I adjourn the meeting.
Don't do that.
You want that?
Yes, thank you.
All right.
All right, have a good trip.
Actually, I'm picking someone up.
All right. Yeah, E2. All right, so new travel initiatives. Not so much new, it's just about some of the places that we've gone. If you see, again, this is not in your, remember my personal report is not in your printout because it doesn't meet the deadline. So it's on the screens, and I'll email this to you as well. Just for our April and May, between media admissions, destination marketing summits, tourism academies, Capitol Hill, sports ETA, DEI, CEO summit. It's been a very busy last couple of months for the team. I know Terry was out in Dallas and Houston with a Visit Florida media mission out there. Sales mission out there. And Destination Marketing Summit is coming up for her today, actually. And Nick, which is not here, they'll be both in Bradenton. That's with Destinations Florida, which is our advocacy group for the state. So tons of marketing analysis and metrics there, which is really cool because all the other VCBs and DMOs from the state of Florida will be all together in different workshops and things of that nature. Tourism Academy is going on now. That's with our website and our back office, CRM. And that's in Jacksonville. Both Christina and Michael are there. Capitol Hill, I'm going to have Persha hit the next screen for me. All right. I believe I sent you all the email update on Destination Capitol Hill while I was in D.C. Several weeks ago. This was a huge opportunity to have Citrus County Tourism, from a voice standpoint, advocate for several federal and state issues. Number one of the issues was having TSA and our air traffic controllers not a part of any future shutdowns going forward. We everything that we fought for or we advocated for in D.C., we considered a bipartisan type of solutions. There was no red versus blue here. It was just pretty much common sense and business approach. With the shutdown that was happening and with TSA and air traffic controllers being affected by that, that just caused a major disruption, not only behalf of tourism, but just so many other things, safety, security, family, and things of that nature. So we were very well received. I was able to secure appointments. If you can go to the next slide. I was able to secure appointments with Rick Scott, Senator Rick Scott, Senator Ashley Moody, Representative Castor, and now our former Representative Bill Arakis. But it was a great opportunity because it's hard to really schedule these meetings in D.C. and meet with all these people like that. So we were very fortunate that I teamed up with Visit Tampa Bay, Santiago, who was their president, CEO of Visit Tampa Bay, and it was a good opportunity for us, and I felt like we made a lot of headway. Also, there's some additional visa fees that are proposed, an extra $250 per person, which is would be a negative impact to our people coming into town from an international standpoint. So you say a family of four, that'd be an additional $1,000 before you start go, right? You already have the fees on visa fees anyway. So things like, for example, think about the World Cup. The World Cup is in North America, Canada, us, Mexico. So now you are seeing people potentially, hey, I'd rather go see games in Canada and Mexico because number one, it's just cheaper to get over there and it's just easier, So those are just the things that we were addressing. And then I was able to address some local issues when I had the time as well. But again, it's a good opportunity, just something going forward that I want to make sure this office and our county make sure we have a voice among the bigger players in the marketplace. So that was a good opportunity. So. I'll end with we also partook. I want to say probably in our first sports show that I could think of, maybe that the destination's ever gone to. We're in Sports ETA. I do have some news, but I'm not ready to announce it just yet. But let's just say some good news is coming. I'm not going to tell you where just yet, but I'm excited about that as we grow our sports tourism footprint in the county. So that was a good experience. Then, of course, annually I always go to Destinations International CEO Summit, which is just another good conference. A lot of great minds and a lot of data sharing and things of the nature that we can bring back to this market, to this destination. So been very busy here and can't do this without these guys to my left and to my right. Now that we're grown to a massive staff of 8 people. I'm not joking when I say that. That's massive for us, and it's in a good way, because when you have 4 people out today, we can still hold a TDC meeting. Before we probably couldn't have done that, So, but those are the travel initiatives and the update for that for E2. So I don't think there's anything for you to. Oh yes, yes, those initiatives, right. All right, so also in E2, Two things. The STS board meeting, Richmond, Virginia. Thank you, Kelly. I don't know what I was thinking. There is for the Southeastern Tourism Society board representation. Of course, you guys know I've already been appointed to the Southeastern Tourism Society board. Of course, providing Citrus County a larger voice. Their board meeting is in Richmond, Virginia in September, right at the end of the fiscal year. So the request is to send myself to Richmond. You see the travel and the training breakdown. Basically, it's a simple budget transfer for from special projects. Then also, I'm trying to be like Terry Natwick with her CDME certification, which is a pretty national designation, big deal, like super huge. And I don't really have an excuse anymore, that now that she has hers, I feel like it's my time to go back to school. You can tell I'm very excited about this. So anyway, we're going to be in Portland for Destination International. We're going to be in Portland already for Destinations International annual convention. When they do the courses, the CDME work, Certified Destination Management Executive course, most of these conferences, they either do it before or right after the conference. In this case, it's like 2 days before the actual conference, so I'll just arrive 2 days earlier. And again, this will be a special projects budget transfer, which we've already budgeted for next year as well. And those are the two additional initiatives right there. So the recommended actions is on the back of that page for E2 for recommended actions A, B, and C. And you see the breakdown in the monies overall, and I believe that's all, right, Kelly? Okay, thank you, Kelly, so much.
So do we need to vote on this?
Yes, you do, sir.
Okay, do I hear a motion to?
I move that we send Office back to school.
Second.
All right, and that's for the STS meeting, then regarding you just approved the CDME course.
Yeah, so it would be recommended actions for A, B, and C specifically.
Right. So for A, recommending the approval of one individual to attend STS board meeting in Richmond, Virginia, September 26th. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And regarding the recommended approval for Destinations International CDMA course, any discussion? We've already heard the motion and the second. All in favor?
Yep.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, pass. And recommended approval of related budgets, and that is the transfer. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second? All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, all three, A, B, and C, have been approved. Recommended.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So going on to the destination update, and I really wanted to do this before the meeting even started. We just didn't get a chance. I feel like invocation, pledge, everything goes so quickly. But on a serious note, short time ago, several weeks ago, I want to just take a moment of silence is what I want to do for David Moore. He was the owner of Storm Distillery. Storm Distillery actually hosted Storm Distillery hosted one of our partners in tourism meetings. I'll let you finish.
David was a very gracious person and was very involved in the community and will be sorely missed, not only as a business owner, but a fellow resident. And we'd like to take a moment of silence for him in his honor.
You're here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Apologies.
Yeah, he was a personal friend also, and just devastated by I had meetings with him the following week about some things going on with the art festival. Those meetings will not happen.
So moving on, just Welcome Center, new operations, of course, operating hours. Last meeting, we were not officially had started yet, but we are now open 6 days a week. Of course, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 o'clock. And Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. We have a pretty cool schedule of rotation, how we do it. And I believe it's working out. I think at this point, we've all pretty much worked a Saturday somewhere. Okay, so Terry's first one this Saturday. So, yeah, coming up. Come see her. So that's going really well. We're excited about that. And then we have a lot of there's some future things that we want to do. You guys know we want to revamp the Welcome Center because right now we still feel like it's a blank canvas. So we want to truly turn into a Welcome Center. So when people are coming off the road with the kids driving or whatever the situation is, they have a nice, comfortable place to come into. So we're going to really try to activate that space and put some money into it. So look forward to something that coming down the pipe in a special project type of situation. So we're excited about that. Upcoming tourism presentations. Tomorrow I'll actually be at the Homosassa Area Council presenting to them and just kind of really having a almost like probably a town hall session, I expect.
It got interesting last. You missed the last one.
Yeah. So, but I'm built for this stuff.
He was there.
Borrow Holly's coat of arms.
Right. So yes, I'll be there tomorrow. Hence why I'm not traveling anywhere this week. Partners in Tourism is next week, May the 20th at Stillwater Preserve RV Resort at 8:30 in the morning. So Ray is going to be our gracious host. So we're looking forward to that. So that'll be a fun time. So please mark that on your calendars. And you guys, of course, have seen the emails already and stuff, and we'll continue to send those updates. Projects are NUMO, which is our GovOS compliant short-term rental. We are now accessing the data. We just finishing through some trainings, Christine and I, actually. So we are on target there. We're now seeing the numbers are starting to come in regards to our short-term rentals throughout the entire county and locations and things of that nature. So we'll be able to share some information on that fairly soon. And then the ultimate goal, keep in mind, the ultimate goal of this program is to have our tax collections collected locally and not with the Department of Revenue. Remember that, because we know that the Department of Revenue is more so they're receiving taxes as opposed to enforcing, and there's a difference. So what the difference is, there's some, I'm going to say leakage, meaning we know there's some more monies out there that we're not receiving, and the more money we have, the more things that we can do for, to be quite frankly, our local businesses. I mean, that's the ultimate goal.
It's also unfair to those who pay in to have folks that don't pay in.
Totally, exactly. I heard you, Luann. I heard you. Also, and I think Terry's going to go over this maybe a little bit, as far as into the social media stuff, the numbers. But I just want to mention the Let's Discover. I try to get you guys emails out when Nick and Neff, when they do their videos. We call them Neff in the office. You can catch that. But they really have attacked this YouTube channel aggressively, and they go all around the county. I think anyone can see that. From the last 1.5 months, just April and May, you see the list there of some of their digital short film series. The newest one just dropped yesterday. It's actually for the mini golf in Crystal River. So if you haven't seen it yet, you probably haven't because it just dropped yesterday. Take a look at it. But I'll do you one. I'll go ahead and send you out the link in the email. Be a little bit easier. But let's just say Nick and Steph did a interesting twist on that. Boozing and Cruising, that was a good one. Tiny Homes 2, that was another good one out of Sweet Citrus Acres. Coffee, Tea, and Plants, that was also another good one. The Best Pizza. You guys, did you see the Best Pizza one?
I did not see that one.
Okay. Angelo's. And that was actually, over the last, almost really 2 months, that's actually the highest views of any, like the airboat tours, the
Pizza matters.
Steph and Nick have done some amazing. Like, I'm actually jealous of the things they get to go on, but that's fine. But yeah, that's the highest views. I mean, out of some of the early ones, so that was pretty interesting. So either we've hit something with the food part, but they also have really, really, really good pizza. And if you guys don't know, they're located in Hernando. So that was pretty awesome. All right, next slide, please. So I will say this is what I'm most excited about. We just, I think typically Citrus County Tourism has not done many activations, and I'm looking at Terry when I say that. We haven't done as many activations historically as a group, especially in the Orlando. Okay, activations are. She said, "Tell you what activations are." I'm sorry. So activations are sponsorship opportunities. So imagine you go to a basketball game, a hockey game, or a baseball game, or a big special event, a concert, and then you'll see Visa credit card at a table, or you'll see Kia Motors doing a sign up to win a free lease on a car. So Kia Motors and those other sponsors at that event, they're paying to be there because they can reach the consumers going to that event. So now they can collect data, or they can talk about their products or their services. Those are activations. So companies pay for that, what we call exposure. And there's different levels of activation. So in this case, Zoo Tampa at Lowry Park actually sent Terry an email, and so it was an opportunity that I felt like we could not miss. Terry had doubt that we can probably get it done because a lot of things come to us very quickly, so we have to be able to pivot. Thankfully, we put in some metrics last year in the budget for our media plan on some contingencies to where we can do things like this, because normally it's very challenging to do things when something comes out of budget. Then you have to do, TDC, BOCC. And in our world, it doesn't work that way, so it's like putting a square peg into a round hole. But we made it work. And this manatee conservation celebration that happened on the 2nd of May was a great opportunity. We actually were the presenting sponsor, so we were the biggest thing there. They had some other sponsors there. I think they had a local brewery there. They had some other smaller companies there, but we were the big dog and pony at the circus, so to speak, and it was really nice. You guys were, of course, all invited. Of course, I think some of you guys were able to show up. I think Tracy was there. Mankey was already on Tampa at the boat show. So it's funny. I felt like, from a tourism standpoint, we kind of had a Tampa takeover, technically. We were like in 2 different locations. Next slide. So what it is, it featured kid-friendly activities, interactive presentations, local vendors, live music, et cetera, et cetera. And it was an opportunity for not only the staff and the team and their spouses and partners and family to come, but it was also for our partners as well. We had tour operators there. We also had the Friends of the Homosassa Wildlife Park there and their staff. So we were very well represented because of the manatee situation and the conservation efforts that the zoo has done. So they have this new exhibit, underwater exhibit, and it was just a perfect tie-in. And I heard you guys loud and clear throughout the year and a half at least. Obvious, what about Tampa? What about Orlando? What about the drive markets, Alvis? What about the villages, or what about that? And I, as marketing and tourism professionals, we already know that. So it's not like we were never going to do that. But these are the opportunities and the activations that we're going to try to do more of because it makes sense. And so I'll go to the next slide. So, here you see a picture with the team right in front of the Zoo Tampa sign that morning, and then we took a picture with some of our partners. It was really cool. So we had 2 activation setups, and you'll see shortly. The staff was inside of the conservation underwater observatory room with the Friends of Homosassa Wildlife Park and their staff, and then the tour operators that came were outside. Thank God we got them a tent. And they were outside able to meet and activate, and they were all together in a row. And what was really cool was they were able to see thousands of people go past their tables, and they had little things for the kids to do and sign-ups and spinning the wheels to win things. Of course, at our table, we were able to talk about the destination, and it was just amazing to say people were like, hey, I'm from Homosassa. Hey, I actually live in Inverness. I live in Crystal River. So that was kind of cool. But then it was also cool, which a lot of people said, you know what? I've never been there. I'm like, it's only an hour north of here. Really? Yeah, that's it. So that was also cool too. So this was all about education and awareness, letting people know who we are as a destination, and then showing them all the cool things that they can do with these little ones that you can't do anywhere else in the United States. Next slide. So here are just some more pictures of what we did. You see the tables. I mean, it was times where we had hundreds around us. Like, it was because that whole manatee observation area was really cool. It was like we were in a giant underwater fish bowl, I would say, right? So it's really cool. And our brand was everywhere. We had magazine stands everywhere. It's funny, that's one of the stands in the middle that we take at some of our shows. Terry, she does a good job of spending money, and so she saw that contraption, and I agree. It's actually a pretty cool thing,
I catch you.
But yeah, so that's just an example. I think there you see, I think that's Nick at the table. At one of the tables, you see Terry. That's when she's in the sling over there. She's laughing, but she's crying on the inside. But Nick and his wife was at the table. Persha and her family were there. Michael was there as well. Myself. I mean, we just had a good time. Good representation. Next slide. And that's just some of the. I just came out and took a picture of people talking to the partners at booths and stuff. We had good signage. It's a good partnership. I think this is something we're going to do going forward. And I think there's also more opportunity, not at just Zoo Tampa, but even other attractions and, things of like a Busch Gardens or things of that nature, maybe SeaWorld in Orlando and stuff like that. So it was a really good event. And hopefully next year and some of our future activations in due time, we'd love to have you guys out with your families and your colleagues to come out as well. So it was really nice. So any questions on that? Okay, cool, awesome. Go next slide. And you can keep going. There you go. All right, just on some number standpoint, what I like to do, since we are meeting, of course, bi-monthly, these numbers reflect just really almost like the last month and a half, March and April, to kind of give you some idea of what some of the numbers are looking like. So from a visitor standpoint, percent of all people that are visitors, this is for March and really half of April. I don't have the last part of April, but last month and a half, 26% of all people in the market were visitors, which is actually up 7% from this time last year, which is really good. And for the record, I'm going to email you this packet, so you guys don't have to worry about it. I'll email you everything today. Out-of-state visitors, 52%. Again, that was up 7% from the same time last year. And what's really cool is if you look at that little circle there, you see the purple represents residents at 62%. The 26% you'll see it in green. But technically, if you want to say all visitors, there's another 13% there. So now you're talking about 39% visitors. The orange is the local visitor. The people that are technically outside of the county, but within 50 miles. So that can be, depending on where you are in the county, that could be Marion, Sumter, if you're closer to Inverness, for example. It could be parts of Pasco, depending if you're closer to Homosassa, if you know what I mean. So, and Levy and all that stuff. So, but that's what that means. And they spend money as well. They may not stay the night all the time, but they still spend money. So when you think about the total visitors, that 26 can actually technically grow to 39%. All right, next slide. Okay, again, here's your out-of-state visitor. Again, number. Spending from visitors, 25%. Again, this is talking March and April. This is up from the same time last year at 9%. So this is telling us that we've had a strong first quarter from a calendar year standpoint, a stronger first quarter. Visitor spend toward local businesses, which is what I like to see. It's 31%. You're looking at a 4% difference right there. And then the average daily spend is down by about $3. But if you don't remember, this same number last TDC meeting in March, it was actually down $10. So so we've closed that gap. So now, the same time last year, we're down $3 on the average daily spend. So you got to keep in mind, don't look at it as, well, that's all they're spending. This is per swipe. Okay, so it could be it could be a hotel room, or it can be it could be a soda, but it could be a manatee tour, right? Which is a little bit higher, but it can also be a Snickers, and that that's when you do that average daily spend. That's what that means. All right, next slide. This map is just showing you, overall for the origin markets where people are coming from. Again, from March and April. The bigger the circle, the more the people, and I'm going to show you another slide here in a minute. And the darker the circle, obviously, the more the people. If you go to the next slide, please. So you see those markets kind of aligned. This is kind of a share database, because you talk about the percent of visitors, the visitor spend, and the average daily spend. I see something that sticks out. Gainesville and West Palm Beach spending a lot more than somebody from Tampa, because they're probably coming a little bit further away. They could be staying in our hotels. That's why you see that spend a little bit higher. I see a market like Detroit, which is interesting. Look, you see Orlando, you see this 11% of our visitation, right? But then the visitor spend for Orlando was 3%. If you look at Detroit, they had 5% of the visitors, but they had like 4% of the spend. So that's kind of interesting, right? Where like in that particular 6-week cycle, people from Detroit, Michigan, who were more than half less of the visitation, actually outspend someone from Orlando. So it's just kind of interesting, All right, next slide.
Detroit typically on this list?
Yeah, so Michigan is definitely one of our markets. So they're on the list, and then they come off the list, and it just depends on the year. Sometimes time of year you'll see Grand Rapids a lot as well sometimes too. So but Michigan is definitely a huge target for us when we're targeting things. From a marketing and advertising standpoint, definitely one of our key markets for sure. I would argue and say Michigan, or let's just say Detroit, is stronger than Charlotte. Which is, I would love to get more into the Charlotte market or Savannah, but Detroit, it rivals even Atlanta at times, so it's just an interesting thing, but people up north when it's freezing. And here's the other thing, Detroit had, and not Detroit, we had a very cold winter here around the United States. I think we can all agree it was cold here, right? When you think about this was wild. Well, Detroit was like Alaska this year. So when I remember when people were coming into the Welcome Center, and I'm like, it would be like 60 degrees or 55. It was like January, early February, whatever it was. I'm like, hey guys, I'm sorry. I know you came here. They're like, no, this is good. They walking in shorts, because for them it was like, hey, I have literally baby icebergs floating down my river in Detroit, in the Detroit River. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, But so everything is relative. So they do show up, but this was really strong,
I will tell you that, there's a saying that has been popular for a while, that every move begins with a visit. Yeah. I've watched over the last 20 years an increase in the ganders. Most of my family lives in either Texas or Michigan, and there's more and more Michiganders that move here because there's more and more that come for a visit, and then they come for a winter.
Okay, be careful. I don't want to get tourism involved in people moving here now. Let's just.
There is a tie between economic development and tourism.
Growth is a scary thing, so
Yeah.
so I'm gonna watch you right now. So just hold back. But you're right, Tom. No, all jokes aside, you're right. Max, every move, every visit, starts from some place, and usually it takes 2.7 visits for someone to decide to move here, and we're here it all the time. It's funny, we're now getting more people who have moved here, who have Airbnbs, and say, hey, how can I help you? Oh, I live here. I'm sure they get some information from my properties. Okay, great. What's your address so I can make sure you're paying taxes?
The key in growth in Michigan and Ohio is I-75.
Oh, of course.
And so we should continue to figure out how to exploit that.
I agree.
Is there a way to track the short haul airlines like Allegiant? I just flew to Philadelphia for $84 round trip. You can fly to Key West for $45 round trip. One way. Allegiant, not Spirit, of course.
Right.
Breeze.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace. My flight was full of Spirit people, so I had to like that. But I wonder if there's a way for Zartico or something to show us that these people are getting to Florida via these, and so you've got what, PIE and TPA and Sanford, Orlando has, and it's like Avello. So there's like 3 or 4 of these newer airlines that are dropping a lot of people into our neighborhood.
So great question. So yes, there's definitely destination lift metrics that we're starting to, that's starting to trickle into us and everything. And I'm glad you're talking about this because one of our special projects that I would like to do, and Terry knows that's why she's laughing. I want to do an activation. I want to do something. I think we're going to do it with Allegiant. And
the magazine?
Essentially, excuse me.
Wait for it.
Oh, okay. So what I'm going to manifest is I want a huge manatee on the plane. A wrap, basically, essentially. So and I know it can be done. And the cool thing about Allegiant especially is you have to go outside to board the plane, right? So like you're not going through the tunnel. You're not going through the, what do you call it? I call it the centipede, the jet bridge. You have to go outside. You have to go up the stairs or the ramp, that kind of thing, So that's something that I'm looking into right now, and I think that'll be an amazing opportunity. And I think there's a partnership that can be had between St. Pete PIE, for example, a smaller airport, and our destination specifically. And also, so it's more than just the wrap, even though I'm excited about the wrap, potentially. We can get metrics with that, and we can do retargeting with that. So what's cool about that retargeting is, when people are there in that particular situation or that particular POI, let's just call it POI, point of interest, we can then take that data, those cache from those phones and those locations, geolocations, then we can then retarget those people with our destination because we know they're around our particular advertisement, that plane. So, and then that plane, whether it's going to Buffalo, to St. Pete, Concord, which is in Charlotte, to St. Pete. They go so many places up north, back here to Florida. So, and all of those markets are literally our markets that we advertise to. So I think it's a huge opportunity. So be on the lookout.
Yeah. So in Allegiant magazine, obviously they write articles about places close to the airport.
Exactly.
The Safety Harbor article in the last magazine. I wonder if we can get a Crystal River article in the magazine.
Yeah, it will be a part of that when you think about those types of activations. It'll come with that, and not to. I want to make sure I'm clear on this. It'll be Citrus County tourism. It'll be Citrus County tourism. So I know our brand is our brand. And I don't apologize about that. And you guys know that. I've been doing this for a long time, so you got to trust it. But it would definitely be just like we were, there at Zoo Tampa. It's. We got a lot more. We know what it takes to get the eyes on us. We know what the carrot is. Mm-hmm. So we dangle the carrot. Mm-hmm. We do a good job of that.
Yeah, the manatee's good.
The thing is that carrot is just very heavy carrot.
What is it? Qantas, they have koalas and kangaroos on their planes. And if you go to the international, a lot of these planes have even a little description of an animal in their from their country on the plane. So it's a good idea.
Now, the staff, they were more so, they were saying, but we feel like it should be you on the plane. And I said, no, I think that's a little bit too much. But so I voted. I feel like that's a little bit too much. I don't think that's the right way to go. So I just, for the record.
Hopefully with a hat and sunglasses.
There it is.
I think management's a better idea.
Oh.
Next slide. So it's funny. So this next slide, it's funny. It kind of backs up what we talked about Detroit, for example, which is very interesting. So this time last year, Detroit was like 1% during that time frame, and they jumped again. You see the 5% again. So that was a 4% jump. I don't know how many people per se, but that's pretty sizable. I think Tampa and Orlando were a little flat. I mean, technically down a couple of percent from last year, but fairly flat. But everything else looks fairly strong. You see Chicago in there. You see Atlanta, Gainesville. You see New York. New York is always traditionally strong. Fort Myers. So I think we have a really good diverse, I call it the top 10, the usual suspects. They kind of interchange sometimes. Also, sometimes, Nancy, you mentioned about Detroit, Boston appears a lot during the year as well. So Boston is a pretty interesting market for us. And Bostonians in that Massachusetts area, they spend a lot of money. So, and they have a lot of money. So their income is just so different. So that's another market that we're looking to as well. So I'll make sure this whole entire packet is emailed to you guys today so you can kind of see it as well. All right. So that's the destination update. I don't think you guys need to approve. We don't normally approve that. Okay. Let's see. Hold on for a second.
Then E4, the financial?
Yep. So again, the delay of collecting the revenue from the state. So this is actually December and January's collections. December you saw in a packet we emailed out for the April meeting. Just go over it quickly. You can see that in January we kicked it up a notch and narrowed that negative number down to 10% year-over-year collections. So that was an encouraging piece of the news there. We'll go into the STAR report.
Let them know about the in their packet, how it printed out.
Oh, yeah. For some reason, when we went to print this out, our apologies, with the monthly compare. Go to the next two slides. I just glazed over that. There you go.
Yeah.
So, for some reason, when we printed it out, our apologies, we cut it off, so, but I'll just go over it quickly. We are highlighted in yellow, and you can see that, there's a whole lot of red on that right side for other, in our comp set. So the good news is we're not alone. The bad news is there's a lot of downturn in tourism all over the state. Oh, I need the microphone. I need the microphone. Oh my God. Nobody's ever told me that. All right. So anyway, occupancy is down in the month of February, was down from 83 to 72.9%. Keeping in mind, too, that our room availability is still on the downturn because of those rooms we have not regained back from Plantation. Really excited for some new properties to get done and open up their rooms. So on to the year-to-date. Thank you. Again, same story. I think, there's just a lot going on. The economy, and if you look, this February is kind of when things started to happen with our political situation with Iran, and gas prices started to go up and things like that. So I think everybody's feeling the effects of it. Our drive market's a little bit slower. I can already kind of see that happening. The STAR report for March tells a little bit better story. We did have a nice March compared to the previous year, and I'm looking forward to getting those revenue numbers to you all as soon as they come in for March. But just kind of more of the same story. Yes, sir.
So I wanted to touch base with Michael on this real quick. I think one of my issues with our star reporting is we do not have everyone reporting. So it's our reports. It's just we only can report what we can report. I know from your hotel, from your you guys are I think doing fairly well. And then every time I talk to some other properties, they're doing like record numbers, but then it's like never translates to this, and it's like I feel like we're missing something, but I know the brands have to report. I do know that. I understand that, but it's like I feel like the other ones that are not reporting, it's like what's going on here? What are you saying?
Well, I don't know who's telling you they're doing well, but any of the brands that are reporting are lying to you if they're telling they're doing well, because they're all down 24% in RevPAR, 25%, 33%. Besides the Wyndham property is actually doing really well.
Okay.
But then we had a lot of opportunity to grow from last year anyway, or from the year before.
True.
So, yeah, it's interesting. Now, you've got, 1,100 rooms in the market that Star looks at, and 700 and some change are reporting, so you got a
689, I think it is.
you got about
689 rooms out of
70%
1,300.
penetration. So statistically, according to my second quarter of calculus in college, the numbers are accurate relative to whatever, because you have two smaller properties that are independent, that are outliers, that wouldn't move the needle one way or the other anyway, even if they were running 100%. However, it would be nice if we had that information, if they would take the time, and I'm planning on putting the Plantation back on the Star report, even though it's an independent now. I just got to get the numbers and get it signed up and make sure it's okay with everybody, and I spend the money. But those 58 rooms, again, probably aren't moving the needle a whole lot in the process. But yeah, I don't know who's telling you they're doing great if they're not reading their own Star report. So it's important. It's good information, and of course, relative to your tax collection versus your Star report, none of the Star report numbers indicate what's happening with your RVs, your short-term housing rentals. So last we checked, and we had a little bit of intuitiveness on it. It was about a third, and a third, or a third was hotels, 2/3 was the rest was hotel. I don't know whether RV was a third and housing was a third, but then you've got a whole different dynamic in that. You probably got a lower ADR and a higher occupancy in RVs, and you have a higher ADR and a lower occupancy in homes. But then you got to look at homes in a different way too, because for every one room I sell, they sell a room or a house with 5 rooms. So it's a whole different dynamic. But you could get the short-term rentals or convince them to be in the Star. I don't know how you do that. And you could get the independent hotels to do the same thing. And I don't know if the RV world exists or has any kind of a database like that they do on a national basis anyway. And I don't know whether an RV park could be part of Star or whether it stays with short-term housing rentals.
We are with the Zartico, we are able to see some of the short-term rental occupancy now. That's something fairly new. So I want to get with you and share some of that stuff with you, and Ray as well, and even Luann. But I'm able to see almost identical from the hotel. So it shows me the hotel versus comparison for short-term rental. It give me occupancy, ADR, everything, just like the hotel. So maybe let's look at some of those numbers. I would like to maybe schedule something with you guys to see, what we can do here. If there's something we're missing, and some opportunities. And I would like to even see from Ray and Luann is this accurate? Is this what you guys are seeing? Because you guys are living in that world, right? Michael really isn't, because he's on the hotel side. So you guys are the expert from that standpoint. So I definitely want to share some of these new metrics that I have, so we can take a look at it and see what the opportunities, and then also even sit down with now we have the database with the new GovOS to see, okay, this is what the needle is looking like, because I'm able to even see the potential collections revenues now, just on the short-term side only. And some of the numbers are actually kind of mind-blowing. And I'm like, wait a minute, we're looking at some of these numbers are saying it's going to double the budget. I'm like, so I just need to, it's just interesting.
The numbers that are not being collected then.
Yeah.
Just the point of reference on your RevPAR index, which is a good indicator. My comp set within my properties run within 3 to 5% of what you're showing.
Okay.
A little bit better normally.
All right. So it's not like it's super far off. It is what it is.
Again, my comp set's a little more specific to me than this county is.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you could have a conversation. Maybe have a conversation with Star and see if there's some cooperative dollar amount they would allow the independents to buy into the program without it being a very costly involvement.
Yeah. All righty.
So,
Next slide.
financials.
The next one, we did March already. Okay, here we go. Fun stuff, social media. Facebook followers, an uptick there. Sidebar to note this on the left-hand side, Homosassa Monkey Island lost Ebony, one of the monkeys, recently. So just wanted to put that out there. Moment of silence for Ebony.
We know why, not that it really.
Not yet. I don't think anything's been reported yet. The YouTube channel subscribers, I just want to say before Nick started this Let's Discover campaign, I think we had 85 subscribers, so we've really seen a significant growth in that. And, you know, if everybody in this room subscribed, that would really help a lot. I know you are. Instagram, we've see a constant uptick in that as well since Nick's joined the team, and really doing a phenomenal job with our social media, in addition to the efforts that Miles Partnership puts in with their social media stuff. Kelly. Oh, one more. Well, that's just an overview and insight so you can see. I know we're just glazing over things here, but you've got the numbers. All looking pretty darn good.
Okay, so for FAM tours, this is for obviously February and March, as you see on the screen there. So there was a busy weekend, February 6th through the 8th, because Ted Brackes was here. He lives in Tampa. He has 2 social media pages down there, like things to do in Tampa and like a eating Tampa page, I believe. And so we hosted him, and then Christina Makashenko. She's the lady in the red sweatshirt there in front of Three Sisters. She is the underwater diver she goes into the pool with the red heels. If you've ever seen her on Instagram, she has a reach of like 5 million followers on all of her channels. So that was fun to host her. Dennis Phillips was here also that same weekend. That's a picture of me. I ran into him at the Waterfront Adventures when Christina and I were over there. So I was on the tour with her, but then I saw him, so I had to snag a picture with him. So that was fun. And then February 16th to 19th, we hosted Bonnie and Gava. So they are pictured there holding the magazine. She is actually the model of our Homosassa magazine. So we hosted them in 2024. So she was here, and she had no idea that she was on the cover of the magazine. So and her husband there, he had taken the photo of her when they were there 2 years prior. And then we just hosted them again, and they just had a wonderful time. They're also these amazing underwater divers that go to all these islands all over the world. Like, they have really great content and reach as well.
They're swimming with sharks and all
yeah,
that kind of stuff,
exactly.
So they make everything look very elegant. I know Nick tried to officially pull off that cave picture.
Yeah.
He didn't quite look the same as Gabby.
And then Alex Hoofner, he was a bicycler, like BMX, like mountain biking stuff. So we had them over in Inverness. So he came here to do an article. We worked with Visit Florida on that. And then Gills on Wheels was here. They're like an RVing couple. Good Housekeeping, we kind of had like a test panel come in. We did like a tour with them, and we're like entered into some kind of contest sweepstakes to maybe get an article. We won't know until the fall if we were selected for that. For an article coming up. And then Rita Cook was with Insider Magazine. We hosted her as well. So I'm just going to run through some of the partners that we used for all of those tours that we hosted. The Plantation Adventure Center, Crump's Landing, Three Sister Springs, Paddletail Waterfront Lodge, Waterfront Adventures, Oscar Pens, Bayside Craft Kitchen, American Pro Dive, Salty Sirens, Water's Edge Adventures, Explorida, Waterfront Social, KC Wine Bar, Cattle Dog Coffee Roasters, Cove Resort Pub and Grub, Crystal River Archaeological State Park, Crystal River KOA Journey, Seafood Cellar, Crystal River Water Sports, Paddles Outdoor Rentals, Crystal River Mini Golf, Tailwalker Fishing Charters, Ellie Schiller Wildlife State Park, Ozello Boats, and Vintage on Fifth. All right, that pretty much covers FAM tours. We can go to the next slide. Our PR report for February was about 5.7 million. There was a large blog post from islands.com, and they had the best spots to view manatees, and that got like almost 415 million views. And then another million came from Dennis Phillips' Dropbox. He had like a live on his socials from his visit here, so that gained over 1 million views. And then we can go to the next slide for March. That was 456 million, and there was an article blog on Yahoo Travel that got over almost 370 million views, taking the kids' last-minute spring break. So we were selected for that in Crystal River. There was another article that AOL had 10 underrated southern destinations. Crystal River was nominated for that article, and on AOL it got 25 million impressions, and Southern Living picked up and shared that same article that got another 16 million views. Another channel, Finance Buzz, 14 overlooked Florida towns to make your travel list, got 22 million views. Another 11 million views on Travel and Leisure for the 15 best weekend getaways in Florida, according to a local. So our name is definitely out all over the world, so that's just amazing, and I love my job.
I'll give Kelly some kudos here. Kelly has taken this new position by, or I should say the bull by the horns, right? So she's been really busy, and she's done a marvelous job at it, and she is pretty much the liaison between all of our partners, all of the partners, and the office. So appreciate you doing all that stuff. You know, a lot of our hours are not 8 to 5, and she constantly reminds me of the evening events and the weekend events and all that fun stuff. But I think she has a good time doing it, and she manages it. I always tell her to, make sure it's a work-life balance as well. Sometimes it's some good times, but, I think people need to realize that in this business, you always have to be on, and so, whether it's 8 o'clock at night at a dinner or 6:30 in the morning on a tour with an influencer or media, you have to be on, and it takes a lot of energy in that. So we show all the fun things and the smiles and everything, but it's just a lot of work put behind it because I think many of you have seen some of her itineraries that she's put together for our visitors when they come in town, and it's very, very, very busy. So thank you for that.
Yeah, Kelly, you didn't mention how the Travel and Leisure article got written by one of our FAM tours.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, that's another one that's
Yeah.
coming up on the next report, but
Right,
this was a
okay.
different article. But
Yeah.
yes, I will talk about that at the next
Yeah.
meeting. That was India Amos. We hosted her, and she stayed at the Cove, and she loved it. And
So it's funny. So to that point, Tom, people think, things just happen just because. No, it happens because we are trying to be, no, not trying to be, we are intentional in what we do. Each team member here, they have we have marching orders, right? And we go out and we talk to people, we email people, we meet with people, whether it's conferences, trade shows, consumer shows, Teams calls, Zoom calls, everything, and the overall goal is to get more attention on us. And the cool thing is we're not talking about pay to play type scenarios. We're talking about true organic media and attention onto this market and advertising and articles and editorials, which makes things even better because they believe in what we're doing. So, yeah. All right. So we are complete here on our end.
We're good. All right. So that ends E for financial reports. So do we have any other business by council members? Tracy, do you have anything to say?
I don't believe so.
Nancy?
thank you for everything.
You're welcome. Joanne?
Wish it had rained more.
Yeah.
Our lake level's creating problems for us in keeping our cabins busy.
Yeah, well, Inverness had to close
Yeah.
the ramp, and Max has got a paddle going on Thursday, and he doesn't know where to launch from.
We're launching from the plantation, and we're going to encourage, it's an environmental group, and we're going to take a look at Kings Bay and how is it different from when we did the same paddle 5 years ago.
Okay. Are you doing a paddle? Is it a kayak or a paddle board or both combo?
Kayaks.
Okay. I'm curious, Max, how large is the group?
I just posted it last night, and it's on the 21st, but we're generally 15 to 20 folks. And it's Nature Coast Ramblers is the name of the club that'll be.
Okay.
So what do you guys do? Sorry.
Well, the club does a one hike, one bike ride, one paddle every month of a 9-month cycle.
Okay.
And then a lot of freelancing. There's about 200 members. And there are several other clubs, similar clubs in this county that draw a few people from the outside, but also create a lot of stuff that ends up being good content.
Yeah, Hernando Paddlers, Withlacoochee Bikers, there's a lot of really good
They'll
groups
show up
to
at-
join
if
up,
that's
and
okay, I haven't-
no cost, just group, social.
Yeah, Max, I think it'd be a good opportunity. I remember it vaguely, but I'm not too familiar with it, to be honest with you. But I think it'd be a good opportunity to maybe discuss at maybe one of our partners in tourism meetings, especially because I know it's a lot of people who do paddle, kayak, and with the opportunity to also do something, eco-friendly. I think that'd be huge.
Well, in this case, what I pushed to the club was, the plantation is an institution, and it's part of our history, and it's going to be here. Right now is the easiest time to park your car. It's $30 to rent a kayak. It's only $5 to launch, and it costs you that much to park in other places. So we're just trying to give a little love to the plantation because they give it to everybody else. So
Awesome. Thank you.
did y'all?
Ray, do you have anything?
I don't know. Good.
Okay. I want to talk for a second about outdoor sports, and it's a really tough business. We constantly say we want to do more in terms of sports tourism. I would hope you would take a look at making contact with Nick Gandy at the Florida Sports Council, and they're the sponsors of the Senior Games. Senior Games are held in December, 1 week in December down in Pasco County.
Yeah, we're members.
Yes. Well, but if I've looked at their webpage, I don't know what it would cost to do an event with them. But I hearken back to when Adam was here, they were working on a program that was called Pedal, Paddle, Walk, Hike, and it was about all the trail opportunities. If we can, the second week in December is when the state games are there. If there was any way we could leverage that, especially now that Inverness has seniors games, and start competing. But that's a venue that has their webpage reaches out to all the, to everybody that it hits are athletically oriented, and they live all over the state. So the idea of saying, hey, when you're coming to the senior games in December, we're a great place with, you've got great content on our trails, on our hiking trails, the biking trails, but to put together some kind of a mini program to see if we can, get into the tough niche of more sports tourism.
So let's do this. I'll get in contact with them. I'll set up a call for the three of us to join.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was curious, we're talking about feeder markets, the villages, I know you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Is that a big feeder market? I was just curious.
So it depends on who you ask, right? And it depends on where, right? So we know from the villages, and Luann has she gets, I think, quite a bit from the villages at the Cove.
We do as well.
Okay.
And so they come in different ways, right? They come via car, of course, and they also come out of busing as well, groups.
Okay.
So there's a lot of day trippers out of them. I think there is opportunity for some overnights. I just don't know how much, but I do know they spend money. They clearly have money. They have expendable income.
Even if it's not overnight, I was just curious.
Yeah,
you know.
said no, they're definitely coming. I think when I say the villages, with the villages they have so many unique. Well, first of all, it's huge.
Yeah, that's.
And they have a lot of, but they have certain areas where they do their live music and their concerts and stuff. So we talked about activations. I think there's an opportunity for us, in my mind, right? Just throwing it out there, it would be kind of cool to potentially do a takeover where we just basically essentially throw up on them at their events, and it's our brand is everywhere for like that weekend, because they have like 3 or 4 like events
They do.
where they it's like a huge series or it's a huge gathering or something like that. So trying to figure out, is there a marketing or advertising activation opportunity for us to like basically be the sponsor of that whole thing for them, right? Just to kind of get our name and see what happens with that. So, but yeah, so no, I mean, it's definitely a market and we know it. So yeah.
As an example, the paddling club of the villages has 400 members and an over 100 member waiting list to get on it. They do the same thing, weekly paddles everywhere, and we rarely see them here.
Okay.
I spoke, introduced our new book. Tom couldn't come that day, but we had about 100 people from the club just listening to talk about the Cross Florida Greenway. And I think Inverness does a really good job on getting them for the small town done right things. You've probably seen the numbers, I don't know, but and they bring money to the farmers market on Saturdays. So
A lot of villages people at the farmers market, and also the biker clubs. I mean, the entree would be to try to get into the clubs, like the paddling club, the biking club, fishing club. They have
yeah,
car clubs,
the USATF.
and they'll let you
has a
come and
chapter there.
they'll let you come and speak. Just it's a quick drive. We go in, we talk about biking, and we of course get a lot of bikers that come to the trail with Coogee State Trail from the villages.
Cycler biking.
You're talking about
Yeah, pedaling, yeah, bicycling, cycling. How's that, cycling? Yeah, so, I mean, the villages are good. We did a lot of research on the art festival, and we're surprised that not as many people from the villages go to the Inverness Festival of the Arts. And it might be, there's a bunch of different reasons, but the advertising that we did in the Orlando and Tampa market for the one 2 years ago brought a lot of people, but more from Orlando and Tampa, not necessarily the villages. So I think the villages is a different customer. They usually come down with their own paintings and their own art and their own stuff in a big van when they move down here. But you do have people that buy winter places. And
So it's funny. So just to show you, I've been take it to a whole nother level. So I was talking to a company from an activation standpoint, and we identified several things within the villages that we can potentially do. They have something called the Spanish Springs Monthly Cruise in August, the Brownwood Arts and Craft Festival in October, the Running of the Squares in October as well, Hometown Halloween Festival October. And then, of course, they have a huge Oktoberfest. So those were like the 5 huge events that we had looked into. And we also have an estimated attendance. The Brownwood Arts and Crafts Festival is 10,000 plus, for example. The Hometown Halloween Festival was 3,000 plus, So there's something that we were looking at to see what we could do that could potentially make sense. So that was just one of the things. So it's definitely a market that we're definitely looking into, just trying to figure out what's the best opportunity, what makes the most sense, because it's more so, we can identify the actual event, but it's like, okay, what are we going to do when we get there? So it's like, because you don't want to waste money. So that's the thing. It's like, with the Zoo Tampa, perfect fit. It made sense. Like, it was seamless. It was like, okay, let's go. Now with the villages, I want the same approach. So
Yeah, that's hard because they're all going to different restaurants. I mean, they're all over the place.
100%. And the Villages is so much. I'd be honest with you. I didn't even know it was over multiple counties. I thought it was just one neighborhood.
Yeah, in fact, when you talk about Spanish Springs, that's Marion County, and when we talk about Brownwood, that's Sumter.
That's my point.
And
that's my point.
that's a big part of their strategy on growth.
Of course.
They have one group that's one club that's called the Thriller Killers, and they do 25 shows during the month of October based on Michael Jackson's Thriller. They've got a dance troupe.
Great
of like
biopic, by the way, if you haven't
60
seen it.
people. We should see if we could get them to do an event here.
Okay.
Because number one, that many people coming from the Villages, then that's many more people to see us. But it's also a pretty cool event. A lot of video online from it.
But to the point though, whether it's the Villages, again, Tampa, Orlando, we are definitely, focusing a little bit more strategic to those drive markets, because I like to call it the low hanging fruit, right? It's right there in our backyard. So if I could just stand up and pick a couple apples off the trees, then let's get it done. Especially from a ROI standpoint. So
Well, I think the hotels that are going up now, higher end, amenities wise, are going to attract overnight stays from the Villages. Right now, they're not as much of a overnight stay, just for whatever reason. But maybe it's a higher end.
And we're also, and keep this in mind too, I'm gonna move away from tourism a little bit, which sounds like blasphemy, but this county is also shifting from a standpoint of, we are now starting, when you think about the middle of the county, the growth, Hernando, the Lecanto, because of the Parkway, we're building more shopping now, right? Even more restaurants. So that's a big deal. The shops that are coming into off of Norville Bryan and stuff like that. So those things are also important, and why somebody from the Villages will go into town. Just like people from our community, what do? A lot of us drive to Ocala, certain things that we don't have here, let alone Tampa or Lutz and things of that nature. So I think the more and more our community diversifies its retail type of experience, I think that's also key.
Yeah, well, but then we've got places like Luann's, the Cove, where it's a local color, local flavor, and local owners. And
she's the best. I mean, she's the only place on Henderson Lake, if I'm not mistaken, that has a commercial property.
Bringing in these big chain restaurants and all this stuff is not really enhancing the Citrus County flavor.
It's a catch-22.
My other business, Inverness is having its July 3rd event, because in our agreement with Crystal River, they have July 4th for the fireworks, and we do July the 3rd, and we're having two concerts, one a Leonard Skinnard band, and the other one is a top 3 Spotify country and western singer, independent. He came here a couple of years ago. It's going to be a really good night. Plus, we have the big slam wrestling at 3 o'clock before that, and all the food and vendors at 4 o'clock start opening up. And so there's a lot going on in Inverness.
Are you going to be doing the firework display?
Yes, it's 9:45.
So the city can shoot off fireworks, but private people can't shoot off fireworks.
That I'm wondering, by that time, will we still be in a no burn, and therefore would we be able to? That was a personal feeling. I never asked anybody, but yeah, certainly that's an issue.
It's hopeful that it's going to rain.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, like yesterday.
Yesterday was nice, but not enough.
Yeah.
Although
Well,
Tampa didn't get any.
I do know a lot of shows, a lot of cities, and not to belabor the meeting, but you've seen a lot of light shows now and drone lights. So I know you're seeing a lot of that, and those are pretty spectacular.
Yeah, they are. They're great. They have one at Lakeland Sun and Fun. That's just, you can't imagine how it works so well.
Cool.
All right, so open to the public. We have another session of open to the public. Anybody would like to speak? Hear you now. Audra?
Since Chris wasn't here to highlight what's going on in Crystal River, I wanted to go ahead and add that to your notes. May 23rd is our next concert, thanks to Inverness lending us their stage. We have our
Congratulations.
Crystal River Nights concert series. That night it'll be JoJo and Jay opening for the Almighty Queen tribute. And obviously on 4th of July, we are obviously having our big batch. For those of you that don't know, the cranes are rolling into Kings Bay Park right now, and construction is breaking on Riverwalk on Phase 2A, the bridges across between Kings Bay
Don't believe it.
Park.
I don't believe it.
It's happening. The cranes are there. I just got a picture. So because of the cranes rolling, we are going to have a groundbreaking with our city council, and we'll get that information out to the county and out to all of our partners. But 4th of July is now downtown. We'll have it along Citrus Avenue and in Town Square. We've rented a big 40 by 60 tent because it's going to be hot. It's going to be hot. And we'll have a smaller stage under the tent and try to conduct most of our music. We have a AC/DC tribute band called AC Deuce C that is fabulous. They even have bagpipes. So we'll be doing that on 4th of July. So we'll have a 4th of July concert from 4:30 till 8. And then we'll have all our vendors up and down the avenue there. And we will allow people into Kings Bay Park, but simply to watch fireworks. So we won't be having a VIP viewing area, anything like that this year. The chamber was unable to participate. So we will just allow people down to watch the fireworks, but we won't be able to have that VIP type area this year, but because of the construction mainly. So that's our update for upcoming. Then the concert series will continue. We will also have concerts in September 19th. That concert is the Block Party Band will open, and then the Phil Collins Experience and Phil Collins Genesis Turn It On Again Genesis Tribute on September 19th, dual bands. And then October 10th is Scarecrow Fest. And normally, Scarecrow Fest is a daytime event that's mainly just for the families and the kids. We've expanded that night to include another concert. And we're going to have 2 country bands who often play as a duo at St. John's Tavern. But they both have full bands and both have done some work in Nashville, and that is the Clint Byron Band and the Rick Lynn Band. So they're gonna play off each other. One's gonna open and one's gonna headline. So I don't know who's doing what yet. They're still talking. The guys are talking. But anyway, that takes us through October, and then there'll be other concerts in November and our Christmas tree lighting in December. So that'll round out our year. One last announcement, our last First Friday is June 5th. We're not doing First Fridays anymore. We've moved them to Saturday night in Town Square because by popular demand, a lot of our working folk were complaining, we can't go to First Friday, we're tired, we work all week. This is just too hard. And our vendors and our bands appreciate attendance as much as the city and our businesses do. So we've decided to try Saturday nights, and we'll be doing Saturday nights on Town Square starting with August 1st and September 5th. Those will be the first 2. So the same event that you always saw as First Friday will now be on Saturday nights. Same First Friday event, just can't call it that now. So, but anyway, we're trying to make it so that all of our folks, not just our retirees and our visitors and guests, but our working people can come and enjoy it with their families after a day on the water or a day playing ball with the kids or whatever. So just wanted to let you all know of those little changes going on in Crystal River. Thank you for your time.
That's really fantastic, number one, to see the minor reinvention, and number two, especially to see the cooperation with Inverness. I hope you're deconflicting Saturday nights.
Always.
And that's the kind of thing that will bring people to stay somewhere in the county, one night or the other. So bravo.
And we also have on Saturday, the American Rolling Stones, downtown Saturday night in Inverness this Saturday. Come on up.
Rolling Stone gathers no more.
Good morning. My name is Marty Johnson. I've been up here before. I'm a volunteer at Three Sister Springs. Wanted to say, go back to the opening. I appreciate the professionalism and the desire on behalf of the tour groups to raise professionalism. We see it on the water all the time, on the boardwalk, and it's good to see that. Max talked about the fractionalism and the fact that people need to stay together. It reminded me of the Ben Franklin quote about something about we got this hang together or we're going to assuredly hang separately, and we need to all be on the same page. I'm hoping you read the Chronicle article that had Stacy, the Duns talking about congestion on the in Kings Bay. And then that fed into a Spectrum News article, Spectrum News talking about with the Duns also, and Avis was on, you were in that thing. We were lucky in a way that happened at the end of manatee season and not at the beginning, because it looks like it's dying off now. But that's something we've got to be aware of. Right now, you talk about fractionalism. There's also fractionalism of people who are opposed to tourism with the manatees. And if they ever get their act together, don't underestimate the anger out there. You know, I hear it when I'm on the water. I hear it when you see it on the social media. There is everything from concern to anger. And if those people get their act together, we all are going to be in a world of hurt. So I'm just saying that, we are blessed to have this. The videos that show harassment of manatees, if that gets into the national news, we're going to have a big issue here. And I think you're all aware of that fact. So we've got a wonderful thing here. We are blessed that we are the only place you can legally swim with manatees. We just all have to be careful we don't blow it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
All right, Marty. Well, I'm going to touch on some of the things you said there. My name's Dylan. I own and operate Big 3 charters in Chris River, Florida, Homosassa, Chassahowiska. Don't mix that up. I operate all over the county. Some things that worry me about planning for the future or implementing things like the eco-compliance program are misinformation. Some things that seem to be misinformed about that I hear every day or every time I tune in on this is the fact that this is not the only place in the world that you can legally swim with manatees. Mexico, you could do it, and not in the U.S. either. We can swim with them all over the state. There's no thing that makes us special over someone else. Some other things that it seems to be there's some misinformation about is that you do not need an SUP to operate in Crystal River. I heard you and Peter talking about that earlier. There's nothing that supports that Crystal River has different rules than Homosassa. There's nothing in the CFR code that says that. And same thing with the CFR code and swimming with manatees in here or Miami. You guys should really educate yourselves when we're planning for the future or implementing the eco-compliance program, because if not, just like the SUP, it's going to fail. All right? So those are just my 2 concerns at the moment. I'm sure you guys will see me in the future, but for now, sit on that, read some CFR code, see what you learn, because it seems to be a lot of misinformation, misunderstandings as far as those 2 things go. All right? Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming. Anyone else?
Peter Weber, owner of Go Local Manatee Tours. While you guys were talking, and I heard all of us mentioning like airplanes and things like that, it kind of drew this thing in my head that it is not a standard in any type of industry when it comes to waterborne activities in Florida to have a brick and mortar business. When you go to the Keys and you go to, everyone knows Bud and Mary's, right? None of them have brick and mortar businesses. They operate out of a legal marina, and that marina then allows you to bring your boat there, and you run fishing charters. You go to St. Pete, you can get on a parasailing tour. You go to Crystal River, you can get on a manatee tour. But as long as you're operating out of a legal marina and you have commercial waterfront access, that is the standard, and that is a broad standard throughout the entire state of Florida and all places in the U.S. that I know of. So, when we're talking about setting these standards, we need to make sure that these industry standards are, not just used because someone said, oh yeah, you need a brick and mortar. That doesn't make sense. The standard in the U.S. and in all of Florida is to have a commercial waterfront lease and a commercial waterfront access. And then as for the special use permit, Crystal River is all state navigable waterway. You can go anywhere in the Crystal River and it is a state navigable waterway, so you do not need a special use permit to be in any of that. I can take my boat from Crystal River and drive it into Homosassa and swim with manatees, and vice versa. I can take my boat from Homosassa and drive it into Crystal River and swim with manatees. So those 2 tools that were created for this program were definitely I think, overlooked, and there wasn't much research done into them. And I think if you guys want this program to continue, you guys should remove those, and that way, I think Marty said, we got to get together, right? Like, we shouldn't create inclusion and, oh, we're better than the other, because there's great operators there, and just because one person rents a building or one person rents a slip at a marina doesn't make you any different. We're all doing, and we're all here for the same things, and that's to protect manatees and to bring tourists here and educate them, and that ultimately goes on to protecting manatees. So the more that we can come together as a whole, the better it off is for our industry. All
Great.
right? Thank you, guys.
Thanks for your talk. I do know that you can have a seat. We're following a format from a particular organization that is a great first step and possibly, foundation. Can't speak. You're already spoken your 3 minutes. So the forum for that discussion is certainly what you've done before. Is talk to the county. These are not. We're providing a guideline for better work with the tour operators and the nature. It's not necessarily the ultimate, but it's a huge leap ahead from what we had, which was nothing. Yeah.
Board, I just wanted to be very clear that this program was created as a standard for us as the tourism board, as to who we wanted to represent the county when we send out journalists, when we send out trade, international people. We wanted to have a set of standards that we knew we were guaranteed. If we're investing in bringing these people here, we wanted them to have X experience. We wanted to be guaranteed that they would have that education, the positive, the whole works, right? So this isn't a program by any means that's meant to eliminate anybody. It's not a club. It's none of that. We are simply trying to make sure that we put our best foot forward when we have these people in our destination. That's it.
All right. Anyone else want to speak publicly?
So for the record, Kim Altman again with Explorda. Just hearing you guys talk, you made a suggestion, Max, to bring in a consultant that was kind of eyes from outside, and I do welcome that. I think, though, that the inside opinion is also very important, and so a couple things that I just wanted to just mention before we leave today. Just listening again to you all speak, Holly, she mentioned a couple things about keeping your voice when we were talking about the AI projects there, keeping your voice and not wanting to be flatly homogenous. And that kind of stuck out to me because I think that that's really important when we talk about the eco-compliance partnership. This program, it's to elevate the standard, not just make it inclusive to everybody. And while some people may not be included now, I do believe that this program was made and created in a way that people can obtain it. They can get to it. There are special use permits out there that are for sale, maybe not at the price anyone wants to, put up front, but if, we have to sacrifice growth to ensure that we can, be compliant with this program, if we do so passionately believe we should be a part of it, I think that is an opportunity. One other thing is, we don't want to be, I think, Max, you said this when referencing the AI, we don't want to be dragged down just to be like everybody else. And I think that's what's so important with the inaugural partners of this eco-compliance partnership is that, again, our goal is to elevate the standard. And while we do realize that not everyone is a part of this right now, we are all fully supported in elevating our industry as a whole. So that, I think, is probably all I need to say today. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak publicly?
I was inspired by Tracy, Paul Cross. Again, I represent 3 businesses in Crystal River, and being inspired by Tracy, I think it's important to note only one of the 3 companies that I manage is part of the eco-compliant partnership. There's a reason for that, because I don't feel like as a business owner that my other 2 operations hold the standard that Paddletail holds. right? I don't have power poles on all the boats. I have them on the majority of the boats, right? I don't have a designated area where I can show people a video at the Manatee Swim Center, right? And I think that's hugely important. Could I go and apply for the partnership now and follow the guidelines? I think I could, right? But I don't feel that I am meeting that standard yet right now, right? So as Tracy, I'm trying to get to that point so we can do that. And I would argue, like, don't take away, add to. Add to. Could you put a component in there where the company had to at least give $5,000 annually to a non-for-profit to help in Crystal River? Like, is that something that we could add to it? What other things could we add to that program to make it not necessarily harder, but to raise the level of service that we're doing to the community? You know, I spend a lot of time, I go to Tallahassee every year, serve on the board of Save Crystal River, where we're trying to get funding for the Save Crystal River project. That everybody on that board, when something happens on social media, they get blasted. Every person on that board is not paid a dime, with the exception of the one grant writer. But everybody else donates their time. Like, I would like to see some more of that added to the component of what we're doing. So make it even harder to join that exclusive community. That's it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi again, Kimberly Stibbs-Minster, owner of Salty Siren Tours and Charters. I don't want to beat a dead horse and be redundant here, but I think it is worth mentioning that in the ecotourism compliance program, you are required to donate time to 2 different projects and or donate funds. I do support Save Crystal River. I can give you a dollar amount if you'd like. We do bay cleanups. Having that educational component and that special use permit is integral to keeping this industry where it needs to be. I hate the idea that people think we're fractionalized. I work very well with Dylan and Peter. They will tell you that. When I have overage and no one else can take it, I will call them. However, it's attainable by anyone in this industry to get one of those special use permits. You have to come off of the money to purchase a business that already has one. It takes money to make money. I'm not independently wealthy. My husband and I are both military veterans. Yes, I have loans. I have credit card debt because I wanted to go into this business because I care about manatees and I care about protection and education of those manatees. So to say that people are being excluded, I do take issue with that completely, because you can rent a brick and mortar. You can get a special use permit, and it is to go ahead and recognize those people that have taken those steps to go above and beyond what maybe the norm is for some other people. So again, fractionalization, no, I don't think so. I think we all care about manatees. We wouldn't be here. But for people to feel that they're excluded when this is the American dream, you want to be the best that you can be, right? So it is attainable. People have to jump through hoops. Maybe they don't want to. Maybe they can't afford to. However, they're trying to go ahead and lift up the industry. We're trying to lift up the industry. And I want everyone in this room to understand that we're not fighting against each other. Again, it's not big versus small, but it does take an investment financially and, personally.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Just one last thing I would like to say is the reason I recommend bringing in a true expert consultant, and I've been in places where we did that, is it's great to have goals, and this is exactly what's been done. We've started, we're moving forward, but you have to assess the thing. So I'm gonna live dangerously here. What we used to talk to Matt about was that literally somebody from out of town can come in with boats that they bought at Walmart that has no ballast in it, has no safety training, and go out and rent. And we want that to not happen. So we need to look at what's our intent and what are we doing. But we don't want to discourage the folks who are not where you are from having and knowing they have a chance to get there, nor to give the impression that they're unprofessional because they haven't hit that standard yet. It's a balance we have to strike, and if you're right and there's no fractionalization now, it's important to protect that, because that's what happened last time, and we paid the price of losing the program altogether. And we'd invested a lot in it, and it created bad feelings, and that doesn't help. So,
okay. Upcoming meeting, Wednesday, July 8th, 2026 at 9 a.m. here, room 166, July 8th at 9. Thank you, everybody. Can I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Adjourned. Thank you. Actuated.